Good evening and welcome to this session of the live learning classes organized by the Board of Studies of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Welcome to this session. I'm not able to see any names of people. Oh, okay, now I got it. So we have Sudhanshu ji, Diksha, Darshan, of course, welcome, Vanakkam sir, Bhumika, welcome, Sushil, Rajini Singh, Rishita and Sweetie. Welcome, all of you and others as you keep coming in. Yesterday, or rather in the last session, we continued with the topic accounts of companies. Today, we will be seeing some more, shall we say, thoughts on this. We have Komal also coming in, Shankaran, welcome sir from Nellore, and Shivam Tiwari. Yeah. So, we have seen quite a lot. We have covered a lot of distance in this. We finished all this. We saw, very importantly, we discussed the director's responsibility statement and the manner of circulation, the time limit when it should be given and all. You had a lot of discussions on this. We moved on to contravention, then how except XBRL, then reopening, revision, voluntary revision, etc. NFRA, it's quite a lot. We have covered quite a lot of distance here. So we are there. 133 is an enabling section that enables the central government to prescribe accounting standards. For your information, there was a time when the accounting standards issued by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, which were binding on members, was not binding on the companies. Because they were not mandatory. Means they were not statutorily prescribed. So they were binding on members, which means, of course, most corporates, when they were presenting accounts, company accounts, they were abiding by the accounting standards because they needed to get the audit done. So we were the people who were enforcing the accounting standard. As members, each one of us, we ensured that the accounting standards were being followed. Then there were some major discrepancies and as usual, people interpreted. For example, I'll give you another background. This has nothing to do with accounting standards. It's about the guidance note. Now, guidance notes are given by the institute to members. The very name is clear now. Guidance note. So when there are issues where the law or the prevailing custom or usage is not clear, the institute comes out with a definitive view. A definitive view, hey, this is how you have to do this. So we have guidance notes on various subjects. Compendium of guidance notes is also there. Very important for your auditing paper, especially in final. That compendium of guidance notes, which is there. Yeah, welcome Aisha ji, welcome. So this guidance notes are there. One of the guidance notes very clearly said, revaluation reserve cannot be used for issuing bonus shares. Cannot be touched. If you are revaluing a depreciable asset, like a machinery or building, then any depreciation charged on the revalued value, up to the extent of revalued figure, you will reduce it from the revaluation reserve. The balance historical cost part, you will take it off to P&L account. Accounting treatment is well known. Still, it was not prescribed by it was not mandatory. So when we quoted the guidance note, our own member, who is an employee of the company, would coolly say, it is not binding on the company. It is not binding on the board of directors. Some nonsense like that. You say, go ahead and qualify, I have no problem. And SEBI, of course, was also at that time not giving guidelines on this. Now the SEBI guidelines are very clear. Even before the Companies Act came out with rules, the 2013 law came, SEBI had very clearly put up on it. That was 1997. When SEBI found that many companies, the promoters, were revaluing the assets and allotting themselves bonus shares on the revaluation reserve amount. So they said no, that will not be counted for promoter's contribution. You allot yourself, that is, even there they didn't say don't allot. They said if you allot, then that will not be counted for promoter's contribution. Finally, it needed the 2013 Act to say you cannot include. Bonus shares cannot be issued out of revaluation reserve. They defined it in free reserves. Free reserves instead doesn't include revaluation reserve. So on and so forth. I'm just giving you one example how, unless there is a mandatory statutory prescription, it is not possible to enforce. So even in the earlier law in 1999, the accounting standards became mandatory. Right? The accounting standards were made mandatory. It's not as if this happened in 2013 law. The earlier law, very much. Accounting standards were mandatory. And the central government at that time had what was known as a National Council or Committee for Accounting Standards, NACAS. So NACAS used to have membership from our institute. So our institute will prepare the accounting standard. There is a process. When the accounting standard will get circulated, discussed, comments will come, then finally the final draft, then approval by the Accounting Standards Board committee, and then it will go to the Accounting Standards Board of the institute. Then it will go to the Central Council and get approved. That's how it is happening. Now, this method is good, but now they say no, we are going to prescribe it. Their prescribing is okay. Now they have also got infra. Now this infra will send the recommendation to the central government. Based on infra, central government will prescribe. Right? Now, if infra is constituted, then recommendation by ICA, and after examination by infra, it will be done. Till infra is constituted, recommendation by SCA, and such a recommendation will be examined by the National Advisory Committee on Accounting Standards. I told you, NACAS. National Advisory Committee on Accounting Standards. NACAS is there still, and it is prescribing. Okay. So basically, 133 says accounting standards are compulsory. Yeah. In fact, guidance notes are not mandatory. They are only recommendatory even now. Even now, because basically they are guidance notes given to members. You cannot quote your guidance note and say, hey, do this, because it's not binding on the company. Even if there is any deviation, you can, if you want. I doubt if you can even qualify. You qualify if you want. You can qualify, but the company need not give. If you qualify, they have to give. If you qualify that there is a deviation, and then they have to give reasons. Or at least they have to explain why they are doing it that way in the director's report. Okay, reservations and qualifications. So this is just for your information, 133. Now we move on to another very interesting and very important topic, which is corporate social responsibility. Corporate social responsibility, CSR, as it is popularly called. Interesting area. Compulsory CSR is where the problem. See, what is CSR? This is my view. The words are taken from my book. Earlier, this paper that you are writing, this paper, which is now called Corporate and Other Laws, earlier, long ago, maybe in the early 2000s, it was called Law, Ethics and Communication. Law, Ethics and Communication. It was called LEC, Law, Ethics and Communication, which means almost the same syllabus for law. Then you had ethics. Ethics was one topic, and communication was also there. You had to learn communication as part of this subject for your information, history. You didn't, some of your seniors went through law ethics. In fact, I used to take that paper for students. The entire paper I used to take. And sometimes I will share the law paper because I was a faculty for final. In Chennai, I was a faculty for final. I have written a book for your final examination law, corporate and allied laws as it was called. LEC, my guru has written a book. Professor K. Sanantharaman, my guru, I'm sure whom I mentioned it once or twice to you. his book is very famous. Now in that book, when this law, ethics and communication came, my guru suggested that I should write ethics and communication. So I wrote the ethics and communication part in that book, and I am very proud to say my name comes below my guru's name in that book. So one of my pride moments when he said, I said, sir, don't do that, sir. I will contribute. You please publish it in your own name only. I'm not having that. I don't have the qualification to do this. He said, no. You contributed, you did. So he put my name there, law, ethics and communication. I have taken this quotation from that content which I prepared at that time for law, ethics and communication. In my own rude way, my own very funny way. Darshan is one guy who cannot keep quiet. Huh? I like that point about him. Anything commented, he has to comment. But that way, Darshan makes this class very interactive. Whenever I say something, he gives a counter comment. You've learned business correspondence and reporting along with business foundation. Correct. I don't know. Even there, it was there in foundation. But again, they wanted it in a syllabus revision side. Seriously, don't know why they do. Suddenly, they'll get to an idea, they will revise. I am only faculty. Mine not to question why. Mine but to teach and die. Mine not to question why. Mine but to teach and die. And I'm only a faculty. I'm not here to question why the syllabus is like that, etc. I can give my view, but finally what they say, that is final. We have to obey. Okay. I've taken this quotation from The Charge of the Light Brigade, a famous poem, I think by Tennyson. Charge of the Light Brigade. Theirs not to question why, theirs but to do and die. So that's our job. So, but then, while they are doing and dying, I can always give my comment. So I used to say about this law, ethics and communication to students, law, what you do not know, ethics, what you do not have, communication, what you cannot do. I used to say, communication, you cannot do, ethics, you do not have, law, you do not know, law, ethics, and what a fantastic title. Of course, that name has been now changed. But from that book, I have taken these words, which I wrote for the topic on ethics. There was a topic called corporate social responsibility, not law, but about CSR. So idea is very simple, and goes to the root of the issue. Goes to the root of the issue. As a pure capitalist, professional ethics is different. Professional ethics is different. This ethics is different. The ethics that I told you about was general ethics. What is ethics? No. Anyway, don't worry. You should learn professional ethics. Hello. You should learn professional ethics. Shivam-ji, you should have professional ethics. I was just joking. I'm not saying that when I said it was humor. See, my dear friends, somewhere as you try to get becoming chartered accountants, remember, a CA can be humorous. A CA can have humor, jokes. You need not always be seen like that. No. You need not always. You can be having some fun also. Nothing wrong. Okay, a little bit of fun, jokes, humor is not wrong. That doesn't make you any less a chartered accountant. Your competency is one thing. Humanness is another. Don't become a CA at the cost of your being human. If at the end of membership, you get your membership and 10 years of working in some company, you become less of a human being and more of a chartered accountant, no. Your humanity is as important as being a qualified chartered accountant with 35 years experience. I'm human. I have humor. I have sadness. I have emotion. I express myself. I can show my love. I can show my anger. This is the ability. That ability has to be built. You cannot say, I'm a CA, I cannot show emotion. No. If that is what you have thought, it is wrong. You can live a very rich and varied life with a lot of humor, fun, sadness, express the sadness, good friendships. Everything is possible. Some people interpret CA means serious. Yeah, seriousness when you're discussing professional issues with clients or with company. At that time, don't become a buffoon and start joking. But later on, or a little bit during it, you can lighten the whole thing with humor. Sometimes the clients and senior, the company people will appreciate it better when it is told with a touch of humor. They appreciate what you're saying. This is, of course, my view. If you still think that keeping a serious face, not smiling, not even somebody is joking also, don't laugh like that. That is your call, but don't. There's no need for it. Okay, having said that, when as a pure capitalist, which is the exact diametric opposite of pure communist, pure capitalist, which is exact diametric opposite of pure communist, pure Marx, pure Engels. This is pure Adam Smith. Okay, the other side, purest of pure capitalism, not crony capitalism or misusing government influence and all. No, it's a pure capitalism where an entrepreneur sets up a business, takes risk, takes the other, means of production like labor, money, and other things. He pays them interest, wages, salary, and whatever rent, etc. Then whatever he makes is his money. The government has the right to tax him because the government is providing certain infrastructure. Beyond that, the government cannot interfere. This is the highest, purest form of capitalism, somewhat adopted in US, but not fully. Even there, they have some kind of welfare socialism and all. Why I'm saying now, if you go by that theory of pure capitalism, the company need not do any CSR. That is not my job. Companies must make profits and maximize shareholder wealth. That is the goal. You learn this in finance also. Companies must make profits and then maximize shareholder. If I have done that correctly and without violating any law, without doing anything illegal, if I have maximized the shareholder wealth, made profits and maximized shareholder wealth, my role as a company, my role as a board of directors is fulfilled. This is the view held, and this view can still be held. But this is not to say that this is their only goal. So you can have a profit goal, but within the broader profit goal, companies owe a duty to serve the communities and society within which they exist, function and derive the sustenance for their growth. See, even in those days, there was an obligation on a businessman. Forget company, a normal proprietary business or partnership. There was an obligation on a rich man to contribute to society in some way, which is why most of our religious texts and other books, they keep talking about charity. For example, in Tamil Nadu, we have something called Tirukkural. Tirukkural, I'm sure you are familiar with it because our enlightened Prime Minister himself quotes from the Tirukkural whenever he comes to Tamil Nadu, or sometimes he quotes the Tirukkural, very famous book on ethics and management from ancient times. Even in that book, Thiruvalluvar, the author of this book, talks about giving back to society. ஊருணி நீர் நிறைந்தற்றே உலகவாம் பேரறிவாளன் திரு. ஊருணி நீர் நிறைந்தற்றே உலகவாம் பேரறிவாளன் திரு. He says the wealth of a wise man, is like a brimming tank of water in the middle of the village or town. Imagine a brimming water, full water is there, pure water is there in a tank, which is in the middle of the village. How many people will benefit from it? So that says the wealth of a wise man is like a brimming tank of water right in the middle of the city. Uruni neer niraindatre ulagavam perarivalan thiru. It's a famous Tirukkural, and just I thought, see, that is the idea. Companies make money. They have to make money. That is their goal. If when some entrepreneur comes to me and says, Mr. Surikant, I want to form a company, for serving society, I said, don't have nonsense. Then you form a Section 8 company. If you want to serve society, Baba, Section 8 company. You can't have a for-profit company and serve society. That is not your goal. But within the broader need to make money, companies should also give back, see, something to the society, to the communities, because they derive their sustenance and growth from these communities. If they fail to fulfill this duty, they will be no more than a cancer that destroys the very thing on which it feeds. See, if the business is run by unscrupulous people who keep only profit as their motive, they will suck the society. Instead, a company should give. So CSR is a conceptual framework that analyzes various ways in which the corporate community, meaning companies, large companies and small companies, can pay back or return to society a portion of the profits they derive from it. I'm being very careful here. A portion. Section 8 company, entire surplus should be plowed back. Whereas for-profit companies also can give back a portion, meaning a small amount out of the profits they derive. See, even there are a lot of people, for example, I think zakat is there in Islam. Zakat, I think I'm right. Zakat, where 1/4, I think you have to give back, or I don't know the exact fraction, but Zakat says, Quran says, give back. You're making money now from the society, give back. And it is during the holy month of Ramadan, you give back. You feed people. You give back the wealth that God has blessed you with, you give back. Okay, you will see this consistently in all religions across the world. Even in Christianity, Christ says it is easier for a camel to enter the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the gates of heaven, which means earning money and accumulating without giving is not a good idea. So CSR is a framework which analyzes the various ways in which the corporate community can pay back or return to society a portion of the profits. See, Aisha ji says 2.5% of them. Thank you, madam. I will remember this because I know that zakat is there, but how much exactly? I don't know. Exactly 2.5% every year you should give. I mean, this is there as a culture. We have this as a culture. All of us have to do it. So now how to do this? Usually this is in the form of social welfare and other measures taken in and around the geographical area where the company operates. The benefits from such CSR measures would accrue to the public at large and not necessarily to those who depend on the company. Hey, staff welfare measures cannot be treated as CSR. If you are going to give some benefits to your staff, that is staff welfare. See, every year, my firm, Karpagam Krishnan and Natarajan, my key employees, about 18 or 20 of them, I take them for a tour to a foreign country, like Singapore, Malaysia, etc. They come. We go, they enjoy, and we bring them back. More of team bonding. It's a staff welfare. That is not CSR. That is not CSR. That is part of my business expenses. It is meant to help them to bond together as a team so that they perform well as a team. Okay, that is a benefit I will derive from it commercially. Please. Not that I'm saying that I'm doing it for that motive. Idea is also to give them the joy of, going abroad and being there. I go with them and we talk. Sometimes we have meaningful conversations. Some of my employees, I'm able to coach them. It is during these times, when they are relaxed, I can tell them, hey, how about this? Look at it from this angle. Try to go for this, do this, like that. They also, yes, sir, I got it now, sir. So it's a more of a different experience. Why I'm saying that is not CSR. Similarly, a company puts up pollution control equipment. Pollution control equipment is statutory, boss. You have to put it under the pollution law. You have to put it. You will get depreciation on that. So, putting pollution control equipment is not CSR. It should benefit the public at large, meaning unconnected people. Okay, of course, a few employees can benefit. See, we may be forming a trust from which we may be giving educational assistance. Yes, an employee may have a deserving case where a meritorious, he is not earning as much, but the child wants to study in medicine or engineering. So we have a trust we are giving to people. We can give to him also. But that we cannot only give to employees and then say, hey, that's a CSR. No. There should be, say, out of 10 people, 2 are employees, children, no problem. It is not prohibited. But it cannot be, that cannot be the only thing. Why we make these points? CSR is that is why, friends, I am introducing CSR as a concept to you. Thereafter, we will get into the statutory or legal framework as prescribed in the Companies Act 2013. As usual, my friend Darshan is jumping. The movie has only now started. Only 5 scenes have gone. The hero is still young. He has to grow. Then only he can go. Sir, will he take revenge on the people who killed his parents? I don't know. If I tell that now, then the whole suspense is lost. The first scene, the parents are killed. The hero is seeing his young boy. Slowly he has to grow up. Then when romance is there, then final scene only he will kill. Mr. Darshan wants me to go there immediately, as usual. He says, in case of loss, no use, sir. Wait, there is suspense. It will come to you. Don't worry. If I keep answering your questions, storyline will be suffering. So come, I will kill the story as it is to be told. Somewhere you will get your answer. Or, okay, you don't like the way I told it. Baba, Ramayana, now only the Rama is crossing Gangaya, Guha has come. Story is still here. You are going almost you are there in Lanka and asking, when will Ravana get killed? This is not the first time you are doing this, and this is not the first time I am giving this example, Darshan. So wait, after all, inshallah, it's going to happen today. Huh? Don't worry. I'll be completing the topic today. You will know whether in case of loss, no CSR, like that. Okay. Silently wait. Don't keep asking. Ask any question on topic. I'm teaching. Don't jump. Okay. Now, as I told you, we are entering the framework, legal framework. This is conceptual. If rightly applied, CSR can be an engine driving the economic and social upliftment of society, blah, blah, blah. Yes. This is what we put in the brochure. Yes. Now come to the law. The law relating to CSR is contained in a single section, 135. Of course, elaborate rules are there, as usual. The company's social responsibility rules, corporate social responsibility rules. Every company, including its holding or subsidiary, every company, including its holding or subsidiary, and a foreign company, having its branch or project office in India. So even though the company is incorporated outside India, a foreign company, the minute it sets up a branch or project office in India, it becomes a foreign company. You'll be seeing in final when you come. There's a difference between company incorporated outside India and a foreign company. See, a company incorporated outside India may not come to India at all. It is not a foreign company. It is only company incorporated outside India. The minute that fellow sets up a branch or project office in India, he becomes a foreign company. To him, the law will apply. This, for example, section 135 will apply. He has to comply with 135 to the extent of Indian profit. Correct? So whichever unit, whether it's a company or a holding company or subsidiary or a foreign company having branch in India, project office in India, if they fulfill the criteria specified in subsection 1 of section 135, then 135 of that, then they shall comply with the provisions of section 135 if they are falling under the criteria. Net worth, turnover or net profit of a foreign company, because later on you are going to see that CSR is, applicability is based on net worth and turnover or net profit, and the quantum amount is also a percentage of the net profit. Therefore, how to calculate this for a foreign company? You will be computing in accordance the balance sheet and P&L account of such company prepared in accordance with 381(1)(a). Means Indian operations, separately Indian operations accounts are to be audited and prepared. That is, a foreign company, to the extent of Indian operation, it has to prepare a balance sheet and P&L account in accordance with our act, get it audited and filed. That's a separate chapter. It will come in your final syllabus. So don't ask question here. All you need to understand is very simple, ma. We will calculate net worth, turnover and profit based on the Indian operations of a foreign company. The Indian operation. So what is the net worth in India? What is the turnover in India? What is the profit in India? Okay. I am having Shivam Tiwari giving me an information that India was the first country to introduce CSR. No. I think CSR was there, is there all over the world even before the 2013 Act. But what we have done very specially is we have introduced what is known as compulsory CSR, mandatory CSR. In other countries, CSR is not mandatory, but companies do a lot of CSR even before. Boss, CSR is not new to India itself. This is not the first time that your MCA discovered CSR and told us about it. No, CSR is there. It's as old as Jamshedji Tata, yeah. Jamshedpur, the great Tata Nagar, is an example of CSR by the Tata family. So although to an extent Tatas, Birlas and Goenkas were guilty of crony capitalism, as much as Adani or Ambani, at least these people gave back. At least they gave back. In a substantial way, they gave back. They did a lot of CSR. So if you want to know who is the pioneer of CSR in the world, I would say it is Jamshedji Nusarwanji Tata. He is the man who introduced giving back to society. So you have to read those stories. Of course, what the MCA takes credit for is making CSR mandatory for the first time in the world, about which I have some views to tell. And of course, there are others. For example, Noble, the great Alfred Noble, he was the man who discovered dynamite and explosives. And he saw that all his inventions were being used for destruction in the World War. Therefore, he was so disappointed with the whole thing that he earned huge money. So he created the Nobel Foundation and they started giving the Nobel Prize. That is the CSR. So it is not as if we are the first country to introduce. Because see this, I think somewhere we are hung up with this being the first country to discover this, first country to discover zero, first country. No need to be first in anything. So long as we are best in it, it doesn't matter whether you are first or not. Okay, I'm not telling that you are wrong, Shivam, but what I'm saying is putting your comment in context. So what you need to understand is in India, CSR is compulsory, mandatory. That is the problem. Okay, now you will ask, please tell clearly what is CSR? Because I should know. Because you are telling this is not CSR, that is not CSR. What is CSR? Correct. CSR means activities undertaken by a company in pursuance of its statutory obligation laid down in section 135 of the Act in accordance with the provisions contained in these rules. So anything which is done in pursuance of its statutory obligation is CSR under the Companies Act. Right? Good. So, good. Maybe if they have some compulsory CSR, I'm very happy to know that. Very happy to know that. Good. So that means that even that is, we are not the first. Okay. Good. So they have given activities which are not considered to be CSR first. Later on, we will be seeing activities which are recommended and which are CSR. First, they are saying, if you are doing this, it is not CSR. Any activity undertaken in pursuance of normal course of business of the company. Activities undertaken in pursuance of normal course of business. Which is why I said staff welfare will not come. Pollution control, Factories Act. You are putting up toilet for the workers. That is not CSR. You have to put as per Factories Act. If you're doing it well, if you're doing it in a... See, some companies may go beyond the statutory limit. They might give a very posh toilet, very comfortable toilet. Good. But that is not CSR. Because it is in pursuance of normal course of business. Now, Mr. Piyush has started that problem. Boss, will you allow me to tell the story? Why are you putting 2%, 3%? Wait, I will, when I come to that slide, Baba, you will know, ma. Piyush, just now I told Darshan, you are now started. Okay. I will go in my own way, ma. When I come to that, you will know. Don't worry. We are only in the beginning. We have to see what is CSR, what is not CSR. What is CSR? Then I will go to quantum of CSR. All I told is it is compulsory and mandatory. Take it. Then we'll see how much. Because if you put like this, no, 2% of net profit, I will not talk like that. Wait. It has to be taught elaborately. It cannot be taught casually. I will not teach casually. Wait. So, in the normal course of business, if you are doing something, however beneficial it is to employees, etc., it is not CSR. But one exception, because, recently we had something called COVID-19. So any research and development activity of new vaccine, drugs and medical devices in their normal course of business, though it is, see, in a pharma company, research and development activity is normal business, man. You cannot say R&D is so CSR. No, because you're going to sell that drug, boss. You're going to sell that drug for a profit. You're not going to give it free. So, normally research and development activity of new vaccine, drugs and medical devices in the normal course of business would not be CSR. But if it is undertaking for the purpose of COVID-19, and that too during 2021, 2022, 2023. 3 years over. Only during these three. Then only it will count for CSR. And that too, the research and development activity shall be carried out in collaboration with any of the institutes or organizations mentioned in item 9 of Schedule 7. Schedule 7 is very important. And details of such activity shall be disclosed separately in annual report. See, If you want to get accreditation from these institutions mentioned in 9 of Schedule 7, believe me, R&D is CSR, but they will not give casually. If you go to them for accreditation or even financial support, they'll give. But they will say, once the vaccine is discovered, 80% or 60% of your production should be given free or at concessional rates to poor people. Only the balance you can sell it at normal rates. Maybe I'm giving some example, but they will give some percentages. So they will put conditions. If you are willing, only you'll go. Okay. So then only this will get exempted. Otherwise, COVID will not get exempted. R&D for COVID will get exempted, provided it is carried on in collaboration with any of the institutes mentioned in item 9. They are all government institutes now. Each of them are heavily bureaucratic. Going there and getting approval will be very difficult. And the amount of financial sacrifice you have to make would be too much. And the amount of CSR you are going to spend on that will be less. Rather, you can do CSR very easily by partnering with an NGO. All you need to do is take the vaccine and give it free. Okay? Are you able to understand? See, simply these are all knee-jerk provisions, amendments given only for the purpose of show, according to me. This COVID-19, you have to bring out that you're doing something. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm being a little cynical, I know, but what to do? Okay. No, Mr. Piyush, I didn't mention that comment to make you feel sorry, except that, see, suppose I keep getting into the answering your question now, other students will be disturbed because we are going in one way. Allow me to go there. Okay. But I'm very happy. Students like Piyush and Darshan and Bhumika and all, Kavita Lamsal, I'm happy because they are intelligent students. They're going ahead. But you should, see, for you, my advice is go slow. For others, my suggestion could be go fast. Try to pick up more. Try to concentrate. Some of you, keep saying, I don't understand. No, then you need to fast, speeden up. You need to bring yourself higher level for facing the CA examination toughness. So maybe that is the message. You cannot always rely on a faculty keeping on explaining in vernacular and all. Somewhere the faculty will do. If you give him enough money, he will do. But it will be not good for you. Okay. So think like that. So one set of students have to pick up and come fast. Another set of students need to calm down. Little bit slow down. Become calm. Because for you, the danger is other side danger I'm seeing. Knowing too much danger. Thinking that you know too much danger. Control. Both. So when both are controlled and you are in a balance, samatvam. Samatvam yoga uchyate. Bhagavan says in 2nd chapter, samatvam yoga uchyate. Yoga is balance in action. Balanced in action. Okay, so don't be in a hurry either way. Think about it. Don't rashly rush forward or fear. Both should not be there. Okay, don't be cautious. Be confident. Okay, further, any activity undertaken by the company outside India. If you are saying, sir, we are going to Sri Lanka and we are going to Kilinochi and we are giving artificial limbs for all those people who have lost the limb in the Sri Lankan issues, we are going to do. It's a laudable motive. We are sponsoring the team of doctors to go there and give them artificial limbs. I will clap hands. If you hold a meeting, I will come and clap. But will you get CSR benefit? No. Because if it is carried out outside India, no. Except training of Indian sports personnel representing any state or union territory at national level or India at international level. So, for example, sir, we are training this girl in wrestling. She is from Punjab and she's too good. But we know she is Olympic material. But her training cannot happen in India, sir. There's no coach capable of training this girl in India. She needs to be trained in Korea or China. Because only there they know how to train. Or Japan. We are going to send her. We are sponsoring her entire training in Japan for the next 3 months. Allowed. That is CSR. Because that is the exception. Training of Indian sports personnel, provided she is going to represent India at the international level or state or union territory at national level. That is through there's a clear process. Now, once you are saying you're going to sponsor her and all, they will the sports authority will give you permission and clearance, visa, everything will happen. FEMA is also involved in it. Because you have to pay money to a foreign company, you have to get the ministry approved, all that. But that will be considered as CSR. Okay. contribution of any amount, directly or indirectly, to any political party. But be careful, political parties is not CSR. No. But it is not as if the act prohibits contribution to political party. You can. Under a different section, you can give. 181, you will give. 181, 182, yeah, 181, you will give. Political contribution. Okay, contribution to political party and all, you will give. Okay. 181, 182, 180, 181, charitable, 182, political contribution. That is not in your syllabus. So that is covered there. Here it is not CSR. However good the party is, however, the party's laudable goal is to make India into a superpower, agreed, but still contributing to that party will not be taken as CSR. Activities benefiting employees of the company as defined in class K of Code on Wages. So if you do anything for the employees, forget it. Employee welfare, not CSR. Activities supported by the companies on sponsorship basis for deriving marketing benefits for its products or services, which means if you are going to distribute your drug free, your name should not be there on it. If you're getting any marketing benefit, gone. Okay? Promoting services, gone. It is not CSR. For example, you are a manufacturer and nationally present brand for spectacles. Okay? You are conducting free eye testing camp across the country. Fantastic. I appreciate. I will clap my hands. But will it be CSR? I will ask only one question. Will your company's board be kept there? Will you get any advertisement benefit? Yeah, our board will be there, sir. Huge board. We'll put our name, our thing, and that email and the website and all. Sorry, you are deriving marketing benefit, not CSR. Okay, so you have to be very careful. That is why I'm saying now it is easy to give comment like this, but you have to understand the nuances of the legal framework, because you and I are not NGO. We are auditors. We will be asked a question on clarity. I've had this call so many times. The MD will call, or CFO will call, of one of my clients. Mr. Srikanth, I have a doubt. Our MD wants to do this. Is it CSR? Our MD will ask, is it CSR? For example, he will call. I had a call. One of the managing directors called and he said, Srikanth, you know how it is. In our family, we believe in supporting Goshala. We believe in cow. Cow is God. Agreed, sir. What do you want? Sir, we want to run a Gorakshan Shala. Is that CSR or not? From the company, we want to give direct contribution to the Gorakshana Shala. Now, this is an open question. Whether Goshala is coming under CSR or not. You don't know, na? See, this question you have to answer only if you know Schedule 7. For which I have to teach you Schedule 7. Unless you know what is CSR, what is not CSR, how you are going to find out profit percentage and all that. So first you should decide, is it an activity considered to be CSR? So these are all activities, not CSR. See the last one. Activities carried out for fulfillment of any other statutory obligations under any law in force in India. For example, pollution control. See, pollution control equipment need to be put as an obligation under the pollution law, Air Pollution Control Act, 1981. You have to put chimney. You have to put Water Pollution Control Act, 1974. You have to treat what I told you, the Tirupur case. It's all under law. You are not doing it to benefit society. If you are doing, then you would have done without the law. Na? Till the law came, you are polluting. Only when we put the law and we clamped down on you and said we will put you in jail, then only you did the pollution control. Na? Till then you are polluting. So now you cannot say that is CSR. It is not CSR. Yeah, see, you will be thinking, is this man really a capitalist or a socialist? I am a capitalist. But I'm a pure capitalist. There's a lady called Ayn Rand. It's too early for you now. Maybe after you finish CA, you read this book. Atlas Shrugged. Famous book. Written by a very thick book. You can't read it now. Don't even think. How can we know companies deriving benefits? Go and see. See, if there is any board showing the company's name in a big way, advertisement. The company's name should not be seen. In this example I gave, I have seen. They will be putting their name big way. So-and-so brand like that. So ultimately, you are going to a school and giving free eye camp. What you are going to tell? You are going to say, you have got short sight, like when Srikanth, you are having -4.5 minus by Okay. Then you will give me a prescription. Then I will come home. I'll tell my mother, today they were giving this thing, this paper. You're having that is why you are not able to understand what is happening in the class. Was my story. Till 11 years, I was having short sight from when I was about 7 or 8 years. I couldn't see the board. From the 3rd or 4th row, I cannot see the board. So I'll copy down wrongly. So teachers were thinking I'm a fool. Then when they gave me specs only, I could see the board now. Then everything is clear. I'm able to get more marks. So why am telling this now? So my mother wants to buy specs. Where they will go? In that paper itself, your name is going to come. Whatever name, lens card, whatever name is going to come there. So where I will go, only that place I will go. Or I mean, just giving one name. Forget that name I told you. Some company limited, whatever. So I will go there only. Is it not advertisement? Okay, you might even say for poor and deserving student, we'll give free. Hey, you will give me my spectacles free, boss. After that, who will buy for me? And where I will go? Only to you. Is not clearly marketing, sir? You tell me, Madam Sweetie. Be sweet and tell me, is it not marketing? Madam, you are going to become a tax expert. You are going to become a GST expert. I don't know what you have decided to become. Whatever you are going to become, remember, law is different, fact is different. Fact, only from the circumstances you can tell. I am teaching you the law. Your question is a factual question. How can we know companies deriving benefits? You go and see. Only then you will know, which is why sitting in your air-conditioned room, you cannot practice income tax, GST, whatever. You go to the factory. You go to the actual place where the work is happening. See what is happening. Learn then. Then you will form a correct opinion. Sitting in as a chartered accountant, sitting in your ivory tower, air-conditioned boxes, if you sit, you will learn nothing. You will only know the kagas ke kya hai wo, that you will know, But the reality is out there in the factory, on the road, in the market, in the mandi, in the marketplace. That is where the action is. Go and mingle with the other people. Go with the operating guys. Go with the marketing guys. Stay with them. Talk to them. Learn the business. Then apply that factual knowledge to your expertise. Are you able to understand what I'm saying? That will make you a brilliant chartered accountant. Not just a person who wrote the exam and cleared the exam. That any donkey like me can do. All India rank and all that. No. Go beyond that. Studying the book, writing exam, kagas mein hai na, you will write it. Beyond the kagas, Go beyond the kagas. Get into life. Life is not kagas mein. Kagas mein nahi hai. Your life is not here. Okay? You have to go out. Good. Sweetie ji, thank you. Thanks for telling. You got my point. Maybe I'm overloading the point, but that is important point. And if I'm able to put this into your head now at the intermediate level, then you will be sensitized when you come to final, because at the final level, your expert knowledge has to be more and your application of the expertise should be more. This expectation is there in final. Now itself, I'm warning you. If you're simply going to be bookish, sir, in page number 49, it says like that, sir. Correct. Being thorough with the section, mucking up is good. Memory is good. Go beyond that. I have one Arya Shanbagji who's talking about Fountainhead. Yeah, Fountainhead is also a good book, but the topic I am telling now, pure capitalism, is beautifully brought out in Atlas Shrugged. If you've read Atlas Shrugged, I don't know, Fountainhead is also a good book. Roark, about an architect called Roark. It's a famous book. I read it when I was about 24 years, not even 24, 24 years old. When I was about 24, 23 or 24. I read that book, both Fountainhead and Atlas Shrugged. Okay, so I leave it to you. This is not recommended for the CA exam. Okay, this is recommended for a bigger exam, which is called Life, which will anyway ultimately have to write. After you clear your CA final, there is something called a life exam. No syllabus, everything is in syllabus. Okay, no exam. Exam will be happening every minute, every day. When the MD calls and asks, Gorakshan Shala, can I have, is it CSR? Then and there I have to answer. Maximum I can say, sir, I will check up and get back. You'll say, okay, check up and get back. But maximum is, if he's calling me at 11 a.m. in the morning, he will need an answer before lunch. That is the window I have for doing this. Within that point, you have to give a meaningful answer that will satisfy him and confirm to him that he is correct in coming to you rather than going to some other person. Now schedule 7. This is something you might want to remember. Okay, these are all things that are considered as, shall we say, corporate social responsibility. Quickly, without reading it fully, just broadly, eradicating hunger, poverty, malnutrition, promoting healthcare, including preventive healthcare. See, that's what I'm saying. Free eye testing is a CSR. Be careful. That is why if the company says we are going to do, then what you do? You hire a team of doctors. But your name should not come anywhere. Book it as CSR. Book it under compulsory CSR. But don't put your name anywhere. See, one more thing. Suppose you are a company which manufactures steel or which manufactures cement. No problem. Because there you put your name. No problem. Why I am telling this? How can a steel company get any benefit from the ICAM? Yeah, nothing. Because you are giving free ICAM, they'll buy steel and cement. No. But it is a CSR for you. So you can put your name there. Be careful is all I'm saying. Every situation will differ. So if you ask me one general rule, I can't give. Nobody can. Okay. Similarly, Swachh Bharat Kosh set up by the central government for the promotion of sanitation and making available safe drinking water. I don't know. See, but one thing. I was in Japan in April. I'm sure some of you may remember. I was in Japan. Japanese, they don't do this because it's some Swachh Bharat and all. They are clean. You can't see a Japanese littering on the road, period. If you even throw, he will look at you. He will come pick it up and put it in the dustbin and go, shaming you. In fact, see, my granddaughter, I was in Coimbatore. I took her out for a ride in a motorbike and she likes lollipop. I said, come on, I'll get you a lollipop. So I got her a lollipop. So immediately she wanted, Tata, I want to eat now. I said, okay, I unwrapped the lollipop, gave it to her and threw the paper on the ground. You know what? The child who is 3 years old is telling me, Tata, don't drop it on the floor. Don't drop it in the road. Put it in the dustbin. See, this is in here. If it is not here, nowhere. Okay, this is something that comes in Swachh Bharat and all. Government cannot enforce. It has to be inculcated at home, family. See, the mother has told her, don't do this. She is caught on. Why I'm telling this now? Still, you can spend money now. If you want to, if you have a CSR budget, print posters, stick it everywhere, claim CSR. Nobody can produce. Don't put your name, provided, you see, in this case, what benefit you will derive? Nothing like that. Be careful. This benefit deriving, there should be a direct commercial connection between that activity and your business. That connection is not there, no problem. Go ahead. Promoting education, this is good, including special education, employment, enhancing vocational skills, especially among children, women, elderly, and differently abled, and livelihood good. For example, every year, I set aside from my meager income, I set aside some portion, from 6 to 7 lakhs maximum. I got 10 lakhs in some years, money is donated to a foundation. And from that foundation, we give educational assistance to deserving people. Engineering, medicine, CA to some extent, okay, and all. We help. And I can give you so many success stories of students who have completed engineering, got jobs. They come back to me and say, we want to contribute, sir. I said, don't do it now. You are only 25, 28. Set up your family, bring up children. When you are 40 plus, come back again. With some surplus, we will talk. Not now. So this is how it happens. So education is one thing I give because I believe feeding a person is one day activity. Whereas giving him education is a lifetime support. You educate him, lifetime. Promoting gender equality, empowering women, setting up homes, all these are good. Hostels for women and orphans, setting up old age homes, daycare centers. Many NGOs do this. The bigger question is, can I give donation to an NGO? Don't ask. I myself asking, I will answer it later. Ensuring environmental stability, ecological balance, protection of flora and fauna. Flora and fauna means wildlife, wild flowers, wild birds, wild animals. Then, come on, what do I have there? Something very interesting. Animal welfare, agroforestry, animal welfare, chuck, that's it. So next call, sir, your that MD call back, I'll call back. Yeah, go Rakshan Shala, go ahead. Yeah. Why? Because animal welfare, do it. But friends, remember there's a difference between Go Shala and Go Rakshan Shala. Goshala is where you have cows, milking cows, milk them and use the milk for some religious purpose or donate annadanam, whatever, or even sell it. That is called Goshala. But Gorakshan Shala is where you take poor old animals that are no longer able to milk and give it. Okay. Yeah. Scholarships to educational, including CA student, is CSR, definitely. Why not? CSR. It comes under the heading education, promoting education. A lot of people have, hey, I am giving nothing when compared to the crores of money that Wipro is giving, Azim Premji Foundation is giving, EY is giving. The audit from EY, I'm supporting some students in a government-aided school. My foundation is supporting some students in a small way. EY is giving money. Ernst & Young is giving money. 50,000 bucks every year to 6 students. And they are only from the school. So imagine the amount of money that's being given. Really appreciate. Since I'm actively engaged there and I'm doing a lot of activity for the school, we are setting up a toilet block for the children. I've given a lot of money there for setting up classrooms and all. So what I'm saying now, that in that case, they are very proudly said, sir, our school is recognized for EY by EY Foundation. So happy. So these are all CSR only. Why not? So long as you structure it properly. You, for example, you form a foundation or a trust. Donate to that trust. Use the trust to do it. Or directly, because that way it becomes easier to do. Okay. In fact, the APPI, Azim Premji, initiatives are so big. I'm not joking. They do so much. They support activism also. For example, this women empowerment, that is a huge subject. Because you see, sitting in cities, you may not understand the need for women empowerment. Only when you go to remote villages in Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, you will understand how much women are, the female infanticide. The girl children are pulled out of school, sent for jobs, getting married, becoming, part of the thing. So all that is there. Sorry, if I go there, I can tell you, but that's a totally different subject. Because I have audited more than 100 NGOs. As part of funding review, I have audited more than 100 different NGOs. And different thing. For example, one NGO we did national level, I have done an audit of district level and state level networks across the country, right up to Nagaland, Mokukcham. Everywhere I have been. Rajasthan. Okay, remotest parts of India I have gone to audit these NGOs. I have gone right into the tribal area of Nilgiris, near Gudalur, inside, where the Beta Kurumbas and the Katanaikas are there. You might have recently seen in a movie, about elephants. Okay, elephant whisperers. I have been to the place where I'm not for the shooting, but I know that place where they are there. Katanaikas are there. I walked with them right in the forest. And I know how difficult it is for them. No, now only they're getting electrification. There are still some remote locations, even in Aruku Valley, this side, near Madurai and all, there are no light, there is no current, there is no power. Power supply is not there. If you know all these things, then you will know there is a need for CSR. Government can only do so much. Whereas corporates, if they are willing to give, can give more. Okay. So the question on Goshala has been answered. What I'm saying now, the minute somebody asks a question, you cannot mug up Schedule 7. For exam purpose, yes, you should know these things for exam. But once you finish the exam, you cannot keep on remembering. Access. Quickly, you should tell. Look at the section, understand it, and then say, sir, it comes under this category. Go ahead. Protection of national heritage, art and culture. Why not? Okay, music, Hindustani music is dying. But revive it. Carnatic music dying. Revive it. Whatever. See, that may be somebody's goal, including restoration of buildings, ancient buildings, historical importance. So, measures for the benefit of armed forces veterans, war widows, and their dependents. War widows are there. See, at the age of 25, she loses her husband in the war. So, she's got 2 children. Who will support? Government will support beyond that. Okay. So on and so forth. There's so much. See, that way, I'm a Rotarian and a Freemason. We do a lot of charity. But believe me, how much ever we do charity, the need is higher. The need is higher every day. We are just putting our little finger and trying to stop the flood. Whatever we are doing is only little finger. More needs to be given. More needs to be done. Training to promote rural sports, nationally recognized sports, Paralympic sports, and Olympic sports. I can give you examples of each one. I've got some example to give you. I've interacted with those people or I have done some work for them, something. It's a very interesting area. Contribution to the Prime Minister's National Relief Fund. Straight away give it to PM trust the PM that he knows what he's doing, or give it to the PM Cares Fund, which is even better. Give it to him. You trust your enlightened Prime Minister. He knows best what is good for you. Do what he says. Give the money to him and forget it. That is easier. That is also CSR. Okay. Also, contribution or funds provided to technology incubators and certain specified educational institutions carrying on research. This is what I'm saying. These institutions only can, if you do in collaboration, you will get. These are those institutions. Rural development projects, slum area development, disaster management, including relief, rehabilitation, and reconstruction. See, I'm not joking. When I was in a place called Kobe in Japan, we visited something called the Disaster Relief Institution, where that's a body. You know, in Japan, earthquakes are very frequent. So that institute teaches people how to survive an earthquake. What do you do when an earthquake happens? So they have a bag that they give, which in that bag, you know, the basic essential supplies will be there. The minute you hear the rumbling and the movement, you should not try to safeguard anything. Just to take that bag and run. So disaster management is a topic by itself, research topic by itself. When I was in Kobe, there's a separate research foundation there for that. And they conduct classes. So that is, you can create a disaster management. See, after the tsunami, there was so much talk about disaster management. Then once gone, people forgot. Nobody talks about disaster management now. Now it's all about COVID. Like that. How people keep on. So when immediately after the tsunami, disaster management. Everybody, any Tom, Dick or Harry, any donkey will take the mic and talk about disaster management. Okay. Whereas disaster management itself is a huge science. Okay. Chalo. Any related on COVID-19 schedules, and now COVID-19 itself is gone. Okay. So don't bother. So at the peak of COVID, this seemed like a great thing. But chalo. Now we come to the hard part of, we have seen the soft aspects of CSR, the software we see. Now the hard wiring we are going to see. Now numbers are going to come. First of all, which are the companies required to constitute CSR committee? That is 135(1). Every company having net worth of 100 crore or more, or turnover of 1,000 crore or more, or net profit of 5 crore or more during the immediately preceding financial year shall constitute a CSR committee of the board consisting of 3 or more directors, out of which at least one director shall be an independent director. So, first of all, this is very, very important. Are you a company that requires to constitute CSR committee? If you say yes, means your net worth should be 500 crore or more. Or, please note the word, my dear friends, or means even if one condition is satisfied, then it will be applicable. So either net worth 500 crore or more, turnover 1,000 crore or more, net profit 5 crore or more, during immediately preceding financial year. So last year, was your turnover, did it cross 500 crore? Then CSR. Turnover 1,000 crore, CSR. 1,000 crore is a magic number. Net profit 5 crore, CSR. You have to constitute a CSR committee now at this stage. It's a committee of the board consisting of 3 directors, out of which one shall be an independent director. The board's report shall disclose the composition of the CSR committee. You remember in your board's report format, we saw one of the items to be disclosed was composition of CSR committee. Now, we are going to see the definition of net profit because we mentioned net profit here, net profit. So net profit as per P&L account, that is profit after tax. From that, you reduce profit arising from any overseas branch. See, suppose you are having, you are not supposed to do CSR outside India now. Similarly, any profit earned outside India, don't count for CSR calculation. Don't count. So if you're having any overseas branch, there's a profit. Ignore, reduce. It is included in net profit, reduce it. Are you able to understand? Profit from any overseas branch. Then dividend received from other companies covered under and complying with section 135. So you have received a dividend from ABC Limited. Now ABC Limited is coming under the 135(1). They are constituting. Then they are complying. Then that dividend you remove. Because that dividend is given after complying with CSR. Na? That dividend is given after complying with CSR. So these two things are reduced. And whatever is left over net profit, you include for calculating this. Also for, what Piyush was saying, 2% and all. Okay, net worth. Already defined. We've seen it before. When we saw share capital, we saw this. Means the aggregate value of the paid up share capital, means both equity and preference. All reserves created out of profits, securities premium account, and debit or credit balance of P&L account. Debit means negative, reduce. After detecting the aggregate value of accumulated loss, deferred expenditure, miscellaneous expenditure, etc. What you get is net worth. You should not include revaluation reserve or any reserve created by write back of depreciation or any capital reserve that may arise through amalgamation. Not to be included. So this is net worth. Now, a company covered under 135(1), which is not required to appoint an independent director, shall have its CSR committee without such director. See, later on when you come to final, you will study 149, which will talk about appointment of independent directors. There are some companies which are not requiring to appoint. Their turnover may have crossed, but they are not required to appoint independent director. Then they need not comply with the CSR. They can have a CSR committee without an independent director. You don't have to appoint an independent director for complying with CSR. If you already have independent director compulsory, you appoint him. See, there later on you will see. Every company, in final exam, you will study this. Every company should have an independent director and all. Now, only when it's made compulsory, they'll appoint independent director. Otherwise, are they mad to appoint independent directors? Why? In Tamil Nadu, we have a proverb. It says, there's a chameleon on the fence. You are walking on the road. On the nearby fence, there is a chameleon. You take that chameleon and put it inside your dhoti. What will happen? The chameleon will start biting. Say, hey, biting. Who told you to take that chameleon and put it, man? That is what independent. So unless it is compulsory, why I will take that chameleon and put it in my... You'll keep on asking questions, but 100 other people know I'd answer this. But today it's compulsory. Now they have to appoint. Are you able to understand? Nothing we will do unless it is mandatory. Okay. Having said that, then Sarbanes-Oxley, that came. Then all these companies which are taking funding from US, they made a big show of complying with Sarbanes-Oxley. Before Sarbanes-Oxley, what happened? This fellow, Ramalingam Raju, what was he doing? He was having independent director because of Kumaramangam Birla Commission, class 49, he was having independent. What were those independent directors doing? Nothing. When Satyam was being defraudulently managed by Ramalingam Raju, what were these independent directors doing? Nothing. Simply sitting, eating cashew nut. Yes, sir, no, sir, 3 bags full, sir. They were going. Sorry, this is my view about the whole independent director thing. But whatever it is, but a smart independent director with knowledge and experience and wisdom can make a difference. He or she, why only he can make a difference. But if the company does not have to compulsorily appoint independent directors, then it can have a CSR committee without an independent director. We already saw, in case of a foreign company, the CSR committee shall consist of at least 2 persons. Obviously, they may not have Indian directors. They are an foreign company. They won't have directors from India. So they should have 2 persons. 1 person should be the nominee. See, every foreign company which sets up a branch in India should have a person nominated as an agent. That person should be there. Under 381, there will be a person who is the person who is authorized to receive notice on behalf of the company. That person and another person who will be nominated by the foreign company should form the CSR committee. See, if these conditions are satisfied, then CSR committee has to be formed. But suppose these conditions are not satisfied, You can't do it. See, for example, 23 March, your turnover crossed 1,000 crores. Great. Celebrate. Break the champagne. CSR. So you became coming under CSR now. 23 March, CSR, 1,000 crores. Break the champagne, celebrated. CSR compulsory, you agreed. Oh, no, 1,000 crores, sir, we will do CSR because after all, with 1,000 crore turnover, what is the thing? You have to do CSR. Compulsory CSR. Next year, what to do? 950. So should I stop next year? No. 25 also you have to see. 25, 960. 26, 980, still below 1,000. Other conditions are not satisfied. Then for three consecutive financial years, you have not been covered. Then that company shall not be required to constitute a CSR committee. That is, after 26 March, results have come. That year you will get out of CSR. For 3 years, you are bound. So 23, 24, 25, you are bound. 26, if still below 3 consecutive years, you are not satisfied, then stop. Are you able to understand? Then you need not comply with the provisions contained in your file. Till such time, again, if you meet the criteria, you will again come in. But till such time you meet the criteria, you need not comply. So, if you are coming within the CSR net in 1 year, then if in the next 3 consecutive years you are not coming, only then you can get out. Till then you will be in the CSR net. If the company is 1% company, how it will form CSR committee? Good question. I think the answer will be there somewhere. I don't know. Okay, it is quite possible for a CSR company to, it's a good question. I'm not able to answer you. Since there is only one director, I suppose that one director will be the CSR. I think the answer is coming somewhere at the end. I don't know right now, but we will get it, or else I will verify and get back to you. The good point. It's a good point. After all, OPC may also be covered. Where the amount to be spent by a company on CSR does not exceed 50 lakh rupees. Meaning, later on, as Piyush told us, there is a percentage. Once you apply that percentage on the profit and the amount comes to 50 lakh or less, then you need not constitute a CSR committee. It is enough if the board itself does it. The board will become the committee. The entire board of directors will become the committee, provided the amount to be spent does not exceed 50 lakh. So you are coming within the CSR net. You calculate the percentage on your profit. It comes to 50 lakh or less. Then no need for CSR committee. It is enough if the board does it. If it is more than 50 lakhs, then you should have a CSR committee. See how they are complicating it. First, you have to check whether you are falling under the criteria at all. Then you should see what is your profit for the purpose of calculating CSR. Then calculate. Then see if it is 50 lakh or less. Then no need for CSR committee. 50 lakh or more, then CSR committee. Again, Mr. Tunga, don't you think your question is asked at the wrong, it's a right question asked at the wrong time. I am in the middle of teaching a topic. Am I correct? How I will now suddenly jump and give you my inputs on how to write answer for practical questions and all. If that is your expectation, I think you have to revise it. But if you are asking me, sir, at some time during your sessions, when you are free, when you are able to do it, kindly tell us how to answer question. I will tell. Definitely I will tell. Abhi to nahi. Abhi nahi. But when I have little free time, yes, I will tell you how to answer question for practical. I will tell you. I will give you the example. I will show you how to write. Okay. You got it? Sir, I can teach you how to, do something. You have to do it. I will teach you. Don't worry. I will teach you. Okay, what is the role of the CSR committee to formulate the annual action plan, give a list of CSR projects, manner of execution, the modalities of utilization of funds in a structured way, which is why if you are having huge amount of CSR commitment, not only should you form a committee, you should also have a manager in charge. Usually somebody from HR will become in charge. For example, there are large public sector enterprises like companies Huge big companies are SAIL, Indian Oil Corporation, BPCL, they're all BHEL, they're all big. They're companies under the Companies Act. 135 applies to them. And their amount of spending will be huge. They will have a separate department for CSR. And they are spread across the country. They have factories all over the country. So everywhere there will be one guy who's monitoring CSR. And he'll be doing. So they'll have a budget to spend. Can you imagine? They will allocate a budget of CSR and say, you spend. Because that is compulsory CSR amount to be huge. In one shot, they cannot spend it. So they will distribute it and say, hey, you spend it. So this guy, and that they want, this fellow cannot go and spend. They will give criteria also. That is what the CSR policy will tell you. Within this policy framework, these projects are permitted. The NGO quality, the NGO with whom you are partnering should have at least this number of years of experience. And all that you have to send, get approval, and then you have to spend it. Are you able to understand? So that type of huge activity for large company, this itself is a specialization activity. There are a lot of people who are CSR consultant. They will identify good projects for companies, and companies will consult them which project to do, which is good. Not just in terms of visibility, also in terms of social benefit. So there are a lot of companies who do that. So all this, so they will hire this fellow as a consultant to give advice on how to identify. Whether that can be taken as CSR cost. See, all this money that you spend for hiring this team and all that, whether that can be, we'll see. Now, the board of every company required to constitute a CSR committee shall, after taking into account the recommendations made by the committee, approve the CSR policy, disclose the CSR policy in its report, or at least if it is on the website, give the website link. You can go to any big company, like Tata Group companies, they have a clear Tata CSR policy. You can see that. There's a public document available in the website. So that if you are running an NGO, you can apply to them. Sir, we are doing this. Kindly help us from your CSR fund. Why not? For example, the toilet project that we are doing for the school, we have got from one large corporate. They have given us. From their CSR fund, they have given us. Okay, nothing wrong. We showed them, we are hygiene. It comes under hygiene, especially girl students are studying. We are building separate toilet for them, privacy. Earlier, they are using very bad facilities. Now we are cleaning it up, constructing a brand new toilet. Short of funds, kindly give us. So they will give. The board shall ensure that the CSR activities are undertaken by the company itself. So ideally, the company itself. Okay, boss, my job is to manufacture automobile component, not to do CSR. What to do here? I have to spend this money. Give me some money. Okay, don't do it yourself. You can do it along with these entities, a Section 8 company or a society under the Societies Act or a public trust, charitable trust can do this. Okay, and provided the trust or that body has registration under Section 12A and 80G of the Income Tax Act. Okay. Shivam Tiwari, you are making a statement. We get tax benefits for CSR. Are you making a statement or are you asking a question? You restate it. If you put a question mark, I will answer. Otherwise, are you right or wrong? You decide. Will we get tax benefit for CSR? Question mark. I can answer. If you put, we get tax benefit for CSR, okay, sir, thank you. That's all I can do. Are you giving me an answer or are you giving me a question? If you are giving me a statement, then wait to check whether you are right or wrong. If you are asking me a question, wait, I'll give the answer later. Okay, be careful. So many of you, have this habit, wonderful and beautiful habit of putting 1% or one word. Don't do that. Write a full sentence. If it is a question, ask a question. If it is a statement, like for example, Aisha wants to say they lie near the Pacific Ring. Japan is near the Pacific Ring and having seismic activity. It's a statement. I am happy. She's knowledge is very high. I appreciate her. So if it's a question, then there is something unfortunately called a question mark, which needs to be put at the end. Okay. Yeah, whether we will get tax benefit or not, suspense. I will tell you. Ideally, we should get now. But here we are not talking about our tax benefit. you are going to partner with an NGO, that NGO ka registration. They should be registered at 12A and even see, such entity may be established by the company itself, either singly or along with any other company. That's what the best way. You form your own foundation, have other people as trustees, and then have your own CSR committee. Formulate your CSR policy in consultation with the trust. Then give the money to the trust. Let the trust spend it. Makes sense. But you monitor it. Let your people also be sitting on the trust as trustees. Best way. So that you put it at arm's length and let the trust have open policies, not influenced by you. They have their own policy. Within the broad, so within your broad framework, they will operate. If the CSR policy says we will concentrate on Goshala, we will concentrate on this, they will do that. But how they do it, they will do. You don't influence. Okay, that is a beautiful way of doing, but that is not compulsory. You can do it directly also. But I'm saying that's a better method, more elegant method. If the amount is high, okay, hire professional people to run that trust. Okay, a company established under Section 8 of the Act, or a registered trust or registered society, any entity established under Act of Parliament, okay, or a company established under Section 8 of the Act. Okay, see, you might ask me, what is the difference between A and B? A is any private trust, private society, private Section 8, whereas B is registered, established by central government or state government. Okay. Similarly, any entity established under an Act of Parliament or a state legislature, or a company established under Section 8 of the Act, or a registered public trust, etc., and having an established track record of at least 3 years in undertaking similar activities. Okay. So you form your own trust or you identify a trust, but such a trust, which is outside trust, should have an established track record of at least 3 years in undertaking similar activities. So there is a separate portal for registration of CSR, and there they give. Okay. So every entity who intends to undertake CSR, not the company, this Section 8 company or society or trust, who wants to undertake CSR should register itself with central government by filing CSR 1 form electronically, and that will be approved. That's all. You will get a number. The government loves to give numbers. Yeah, PNR, or is a PAN number, DIN, Aadhaar. Huh? Finally, you and I are not people. We are numbers. Provided that the provisions of this sub-rule shall not affect CSR projects approved prior to 21. Up to 21, approved, gone. Beyond that, if you want to give to an NGO, that NGO should have filed Form CSR 1, which should be signed and submitted electronically and verified by a CA or CS or cost accounting and practice. We have, in my firm, we have NGOs also, about 30 NGOs. We are the auditors. See, I have audited 100 NGOs on fund review, but I am the auditor for about 30 NGOs. All these NGOs, we filed Form CSR 1. So that the fellow suddenly comes and says, we want CSR, go take how much ever you want to go. Once you submit CSR 1, you will get CSR registration number, CSRRN. These guys love to give numbers. No? Wow. Now CSR implementation. A company may engage international organizations for designing, monitoring, and evaluation of CSR projects. A company may also collaborate with other companies for undertaking projects, provided the respective companies are in a position to report separately on such projects. See, the idea is simple. Both of us are working in the same area, in the same interest group, the same beneficiary population. Why not combine and do it? So we are, for example, you are going to build a school for Adivasi children. Agreed. So if you build one school, I'll build one school. It's stupidity. We build one school which all the facilities. Both of us contribute together and build it. But how much I contributed, I should be able to report. How much you contributed, you should be able to. Okay. The board of a company shall satisfy itself that the funds so disbursed have been utilized for the purposes and in the manner as approved by it, and the chief financial officer or other person responsible for financial management shall certify to the effect. Got it? Now, you will ask me, sir, some projects may take more than 1 year. Let me see if I have missed that. Okay, now. Some projects may go more than 1 year. What do I do? Then you are having an ongoing project. Means your money will not be spent in 1 year, but over multiple years. So means a multi-year project undertaken by a company in fulfillment of CSR obligation, having timelines not exceeding 3 years, excluding the financial year in which it was commenced. So if you're commencing a project in 23 March, so you have 24, 25, 26, 3 years it will take. So this is called ongoing project. It shall include, I told you, building a school. Yeah. Building a school cannot be 1 year. It will take 3 years. It should take minimum 3. See, maximum 3 years. It's an ongoing project. Don't take something beyond 3 years, because that is too much. Yeah, Shivam, I'll tell you this. You are asking me questions that are going to be answered, but unfortunately, the slides are not coming to that. Just give me 1 minute, we will answer your question. So in case of ongoing project, the board of the company shall monitor the implementation of the project with reference to the approved timelines and year-wise allocation. So you should very clearly say, building of school for tribal children, 23 starting, so much money, 24 so much, 25, 26 finishing, so much. Clearly you should budget and spend. You can't simply tell it's an ongoing project and not spend this year. To postpone CSR spending, if you do that, you are in trouble. Clearly you should show what is the going expenditure, and that money should be spent finally. Okay. At last, we come to the point. Oh, yo, finally, Shivam, Piyush, Darshan, you are all happy now. The board of every company required to form CSR committee shall ensure that the company spends in every financial year at least 2%, Piyush, you are right, of the average net profits of 3 immediately preceding financial years. That is why when you told 2%, I didn't want to answer at that time. If I say yes, I will be wrong. If I say, if you are putting there, 2%, Piyush, 2% of net profit is compulsory. I can't tell because it is not 2% of net profit. It is 2% of the average net profits of 3 immediately preceding financial years. That is why I didn't answer your question at that time. Because it is not so easy. 2% of net profit. No, it is at least 2%. And the at least, if you want to spend more, please spend. And there are companies that spend more. Tata Group, Wipro, they spend more. Shivnadar, SSN, they spend more. So if you want to spend more, do it. But at least 2% of the average net profits of the 3 immediately preceding financial years. So when you ask me 2% net profits, question mark, I can't give a reply. You understand? Otherwise, I'll be jumping. So aram se, knowledge can be learned carefully. So now what we saw the framework, we saw the constitution of the committee, we saw what is CSR, we saw what is not CSR. Now we are telling, and we saw what is the criteria when a company will become covered by CSR commitment compulsory. Now we are saying every company required to form a CSR committee. Once you come in the CSR net, you have formed a committee, then you shall ensure that the company spends in every financial year at least 2% of the average net profits of 3 immediately preceding financial. That is why even when you went out of the net, still they said you have to do it for 3 consecutive financial years. Got it? Because average has to be seen. Got it? Once the 3rd year is over, stop. You're able to understand? So because that 1 year will still be coming. Got it? Now this is the operative provision which we have seen. Where the company has not completed the period of 3 financial years since its incorporation, then during such immediately preceding financial year. So, sir, I have not completed 3, then average for the remaining. So if it's only 2 years, 1 year, that year's 2%. But once you complete 3, then you have to take average. Okay. Sir, can we less CSR expenditure from revenue earned in next financial year? No. CSR is not business expenditure. If it is business expenditure, it is not CSR. Samajh gaye na? Please understand, sir. Shri Tiwari ji, if you say it is business expenditure, you cannot claim it is CSR. CSR means it's still, your task to go. It cannot, you can claim it in your P&L, but it is not business expenditure. Because the minute you say business expenditure, then, no. Please understand, please. If you say it is business expenditure, it is not CSR. Ma. See, you understand now? Asking question is easy, Tiwari. Thinking is very difficult. Think. Soch kar dijiye, please. Think. Then you ask the question. Because earlier we said, business expenditure cannot be taken for. If you say it is business expenditure, it is not CSR. So that means that you are not fulfilling compulsory CSR. So you cannot claim it as business expenditure. Well, I don't know what you mean by business expenditure. If you mean whether it can go to P&L, it can. It has to go to P&L. Where else it will go? But is it business expenditure? No. No. You separately call it CSR expenditure. It is not business expenditure. It's like donation. See, forget CSR was. Suppose in the P&L account you are having donation. When you are computing the income tax return, what you will do? You will disallow donation. You will claim ATG, that comes later. You will disallow donation. Okay. Now, companies may build CSR capacities of their own personnel as well as the companies may build CSR capacities of their own personnel as well as those implementing agencies through institutions which will with established track records of at least 3 financial. But such expenditure, including expenditure on administrative overhead, shall not exceed 5% of the total CSR expenditure of the company in one financial year. I told you, some of these large companies will have their own department. In that department, they will be spending salary, gallery. All that together, I total it, that amount should not exceed 5% of CSR expenditure. So what you should do, you should calculate 2% of profit, average net profits. Then in this year, you have to contribute that. Out of that, you can spend only 5%. See, so last 3 years ka average I have to spend this year, 2%. Out of that 2%, 5% only I can spend for administrative overhead. So, but then believe me, some of these large Navratna giants, their 2% will be a huge amount. Out of that, 5% will be a huge amount. So they will hire a whole team of people. They will hire consultants, all that. Because the amount is high now, how to spend it? See, a small company with profit, less profit, 2% is nothing. I can give it to one institution and furnish it. But for a huge amount, hundreds of crores, what you will do? And you have to spend it in 1 year. Or else you have to identify ongoing project. But then ongoing project also has to be monitored. You can't simply say ongoing project and push it. Got it? Now, the board of every company required to form CSR committee shall ensure that at least 2% of the average net profits of where the company has, we already seen this, I'm sorry. Okay. The administrative expenses should not exceed 5%. Preference shall be given for local area, ideally in and around your factory, because the essence of CSR is you should give back to the community around you. So that is very important. So I'll tell you one more CSR. Strictly speaking, this is not CSR. At that time, CSR was not there, but there is a company called Oriental Cement in Tadepallikudam near Ramakuntam, which is a beautiful cement. Cement is polluting industry. But these people, and one more thing, they have mines. And that too, they will be doing what is known as strip mining, where, you have to make a hole and keep digging. Not tunneling is not even this strip mining, where you make a hole, take the limestone and take it. After the limestone is taken, there will be a hole. Okay, there will be nothing there. So what these people have done, they have landscaped it, planted trees, made it into a lake. Can you imagine? They have filled it with water. And that water is also recycled water. They have taken the water from the factory, recycled it, and they have filled it. And when the rain falls, it also catches. So it is also water conservation and rainwater harvesting. And that water is used for every day, 3 times they spray the water in the factory, on the plants, and so that it settles the dust, thereby reducing the impact of lung cancer for not only the employees, the entire area. See, 6 kilometers around a cement factory, 6 to 7 kilometers around a cement factory, the particles will be, nanoparticles will be floating, the cement nanoparticles, and they will be clogging the lungs. And the chances of people in and around the cement factory getting lung cancer is probabilistically high. Statistics are proved. So they have to do something to reduce it. That way they are giving back to the community. So they have created an artificial lake. They are settling the thing. So much things are happening. These are all classic innovative CSR ideas. And any money spent for that can definitely be claimed as CSR expense. Mohammed is asking suddenly, so independent directors required. You heard it now, 3 people must. One fellow should be independent director, provided independent directors are to be appointed by you. If you are supposed to have independent directors as per law, then out of those independent directors, one fellow should be part of the CSR committee. Okay. Mohammed, which part of this you didn't understand? You understood now? So, Bhumika, sir, can we list the CSR? I already answered that question, Shivam. Sir, contribution towards CSR minimum 2% immediately within the financial year is minimum limit, but no maximum. Please, no maximum. Maximum who decides? The board of directors, finally shareholders. There is no maximum. Actually, there is a maximum in the sense, if you want to contribute more than 5%, you will see it later on when you come to 181. There also, they don't put a maximum ceiling. They say board on its own can calculate, spend 5%. If you want to go beyond that, your shareholders are top. If the shareholders approve anything, because finally, whose money is it? It is the shareholders' money now. The profit belongs to the shareholders. If they say use it more than also. So there is a different thing, but there is no maximum limit. You understand? Okay. I am not seeing any maximum ceiling. I think they should say if you want to go beyond 2% on CSR, because 181 is meant more for contribution to any bona fide charitable trust. So that strictly, again, if you're going to contribute, So as such, there is no higher ceiling. Okay, if you want to give more, board can give on CSR, provided it is CSR. CSR activities provided as contribution. See, my dear friend, Mohammed, please understand one thing. CSR is something that you have to do. Please understand this. CSR activities are undertaken by the company itself or through the following entity. That means what? You are not giving contribution to them. You are not giving donation. You are authorizing them to spend on your behalf. See, that NGO is having one activity. They need money for that. They are coming to you. You are telling them you build. But it is not donation. You are not giving a lump sum to them and saying, do whatever you want. No. You are authorizing a project. You are going to monitor the project expenditure. You are going to see whether that money was spent for that project, which is your CSR. And you will be putting photo in your annual report as your CSR. That NGO cannot say. If the NGO is putting its own money, yes. Your money, if they put, that is your CSR. So if you give a contribution to a charitable organization, it is not CSR. If you give contribution to charitable organization, you will get 80G. You are asking 2 questions, as usual, double-loaded gun. If you give a contribution to a charitable, bona fide charitable trust, which is having 80G registration, you will get 80G. But CSR, no. Because CSR is not a contribution. It is expenditure meant for this. Okay. It's a very difficult thing to digest. But no income tax benefit for CSR. Have I answered your question? I think Darshan or somebody was asking me a question earlier. And I said, wait for the climax. Now it has come. Now it has come. Where is that? I was also telling now. Let us see. So no tax benefit, nothing. You can forget tax benefit. I have a different view, but officially I'm telling, as per the law, no tax benefit. Okay? Mohammed, you understood why you cannot contribute to any charitable organization for CSR? You have to spend it. If you are not spending it directly, you can spend it through a registered NGO. but that is your CSR. That is not donation. If you call it donation, it is not CSR. If you call it business expenditure, it is not CSR. Please understand. This is a very, very important point. Okay. If you have not understood, I'll explain again, but understand. Confirm that you have understood it, Mohammed. Okay. You have not spent it. Sometimes it can happen now. You are not spent. Then the board shall in its report specify the reasons for not spending the amount. Unless the unspent amount relates to any ongoing project, transfer such unspent amount to a fund specified in Schedule 7 within a period of 6 months of the expiry of the financial year. Friends, you are a company. You are supposed to spend 2% of the average net profits of the immediately preceding 3 financial years. You are saying you have not spent it. On 31st March, you come and say, I have not spent it. No problem. Tell me the reason. We are idiots. We are not able to spend whatever. But you can't keep that money. How intelligent, huh? You can't keep that money. Within 6 months, transfer it to a fund we are going to set up. From that fund, we will spend. Don't worry about it. The government will spend. You transfer it to the government, we'll take you. You don't have the intelligence to do CSR. No problem. Give it to me. We will do it. Okay. Are you able to understand this? So if you are not spent it, then you can't keep the money. Transfer the money that goes out of your business. You can't keep it. You can't keep that money and rotate it in your business. No. Any surplus. See, suppose there is a not spent. Okay. Suppose I'm spending more. As I told you, more than 2%. Then surplus, or if I'm as part of my CSR activities, see, for example, there's something called the mouth and foot painting artists. See, these are people who don't have hands. So they paint with their legs and mouth. Okay. You're having hand, na? Just check. You're having 2 hands, na? Both our hands are working, na? You are having, na? Check it. Leg also is there, na? These are guys who don't have leg or hand. They paint with the mouth also. So these guys, they paint and they create greeting cards. Okay. Bags and all. Beautiful paintings they make. So they don't want charity. They say, buy our products. Buy our products. So this is a good project and it's a good CSR also. So you might set up a unit for that, teaching them how to do and then selling that product. Out of that, there will be a surplus. That is not your surplus. That is a surplus of that activity. It shall not form part of the business profit. It shall be plowed back into the same project. In case you are not able to do it, you transfer it to the unspent CSR account. It's like that amount is not spent. Same thing, within 6 months, send it to the fund. Okay. So if you're having any surplus, it's quite possible. Okay. It's quite possible. I was in Siddhabari recently where Chinmaya Mission has something called CORD, Chinmaya Organization for Rural Development, where they have deaf people who are taught, that part of Himachal Pradesh, they have a special type of painting technique. So these people are learning how to do that. They're deaf people. They paint. And CORD sells the products that they make. And they make some money out of it. That's an NGO, which is exempted from tax. But I'm saying if you as a company do something like that and you generate surplus, then that surplus should be plowed back. Which is why I'm saying play it safe. Do not get into this activity. Give it to an NGO. Let the NGO do it. Because the NGO would automatically plow it back. As per the NGO, see, otherwise they can't get 80G and 12A now. So that is why once you are going there, rural development and all, be careful. Get it into administrative expense means, sir, I told you now, when the amount is huge, Baba, even to spend it, I need a team of people who will, the committee will give the idea, who will go and spend it. Somebody has to actually go. For example, one public sector undertaking, they had 1 lakh tree planting project across India. 1 crore, 1 lakh. So 1 lakh tree, how you will plant? Somebody has to go monitor, take photograph, send it. For that, you need a team of people now. So that is called administrative overhead. That administrative overhead should not exceed 5% of total CSR expenditure for that financial. So you calculate 2%. Listen to me, Shivam. Listen to me, Sonia. You calculate 2% of the average net profits of 3 immediately preceding financial year, right? Then you calculate 5% of the 2%. That is the limit on how much you can spend on this type of administrative expense. Otherwise, what you will do? You're all smart, standard accountant. Later on, what you will do? You will quietly tell your MD, sir, our HR fellows are there. We are giving salary. We will say they are CSR expenditure, administrative overhead. Do that, but it cannot be more than 5% of the 2%. Okay. One more question. In an year of loss, what happens? In an year of loss, nothing happens. You take the average of the three immediately preceding. So this year, year before. So the average will come down. That's why I said they say enough. 3 consecutive financial years, you have to continue. If you're still low, then that's why they say average. Got it? Excess expenditure. Now comes the real challenge. You spent more. Set off and carry forward. Carry forward and set off. You spent more. Then such excess amount may be set off against the requirement to spend up to immediate succeeding 3 financial years. Got it? So, sir, this year you are supposed to spend 2% only. I have spent 5% of the average net profits because the need was there. I spent good. Now, next year, when you're calculating 2%, out of that 2%, you adjust this excess. If it is fully adjusted, good balance you spend. Still not adjusted, another 1 year. So, like that, 3 financial years you can carry forward and set off. But any surplus on CSR activity cannot be set off. In that year you use it. Otherwise, you transfer it to the fund. No set off, no carry forward, no set off. And even for carry forward and set off, the board should pass a resolution. They should say consciously, we are going to future set off. Got it? This is a very important point. Excess expenditure can be carried forward and set off up to 3 financial years in future. Up to immediately succeeding 3 financial years. Are you clear? Because after I go out of this slide, don't ask me a question on this point. What happens if I spend more, sir? You can set off. How many years? 3 financial years. Surplus? No. Only excess expenditure can be carried forward. Got it? Can I do capital expenditure on CSR? Yes, you can. But be careful. That capital asset cannot be put in your balance sheet. Yes, for example, we are getting CSR for capital asset only for toilet block. They have built brick and mortar. We are building a permanent toilet block, which will be there for 20 years. No problem. But that capital asset should be held by a company under Section 8 or a public trust. In this case, the school is run by a trust. So this toilet block will be shown as an asset in the trust ka balance sheet, not in the company balance sheet. You cannot. That is why one person asking doubt, sir, we are doing pollution control equipment. We are putting, sir, can I claim CSR? Capital expenditure on CSR is allowed, no, sir. Half-baked one. He is reading some Google or some WhatsApp and he's telling me, yes, sir, capital expenditure allowed, Baba. But that asset is going to be held by who? Sir, only we will hold it. Then you cannot. Even assuming that, first of all, you cannot because it is not CSR itself. You are doing pollution control only for act. Compliance with the law, not CSR. Assuming it is CSR and capital amount allowed and all, you are educating me, I'll take it. But then you shouldn't hold it. Some trust should hold it. Okay, sir. Okay, like our friend Muhammad puts okay, like that fellow also said, okay, like that he went off. Okay. So, such capital asset shall be held by any of the following. A company established under Section 8 or a registered public trust or a registered society having charitable objects and CSR registration number, beneficiaries of the CSR project. See, what you can do, you can give some asset to a tribal village, maybe a community. See, the children cannot study at home, small houses. So we build a community space where the children can come in the evening. We will have a DG set also, put a light there and all some educational lights and all. Hire a teacher to teach them in the evenings. This is a very good project. I have seen many people do this. And those children are so benefited because all they need is that extra help to study in the evenings. And then they go and perform well in the school. They go on to become doctors and engineers. Especially the Kartanayakas, they have done this. When I was in Gudalur, the Kartanayaka, one of the social workers who's a Kartanayaka, he told me, sir, other Adivasi tribals have not done it, sir. We have done it. The Kartanayakas have taken benefit and we have gone and we are moving out of the forest. Like that he was saying. So the point is, you can do this. In which case, instead of giving it to a society, You can give it to that village. We can give it to the village itself and say, you hold it. This is yours. From now on, you run it. Like that. Not a good idea. Still, it's better to give it to an NGO who will own it and use it. But it's up to you, boss. But you cannot hold it in your balance sheet. Or you can give it to a public authority owned by the government. No problem. See, government ka school hai. In that you build something. You can't hold it. You give it. Like you build a toilet. I'll tell another joke. I was in a village near Tiruvallur. I was addressing the students there, career counseling or something. Investor awareness I was giving, lecture on to the professors. Now, in the school I went, I needed to urgently go to the washroom. And I went there, I found a brand new toilet was there and locked. It's a toilet for boys and girls. It was locked. Then I called the fellow and I asked, hey, what is this toilet? No, sir, it is not locked. I said, hey, look here, the children have to use it. No, they will make it dirty, sir. They will make it dirty. See, that is why the toilet is there. They locked it. And these children are still going in the old dirty toilet and outside. Whereas the brand new toilet is locked. Why? Because the children will make it dirty. I don't know whether to laugh or cry. They just came away. That's a CSR project. You can build a toilet in a government school, but you have to donate it to the school. You have to donate it to the education department, public authority. You have to give it. So any capital asset created by a company prior to the commencement of the company's CSR rules shall within a period of 180 days comply with the requirement. If you are owning it, you have to transfer it to a trust. And this may be extended by a further period of not more than 90 days with the approval of board. So you cannot continue to hold. Okay. Shivam Tiwari. If suppose our company falls under CSR, but later in next we are not meeting then we can stop. Kanna, Shivam. Kanna. You are forgetting this slide, ma. I was like a madman. I was explaining. You are so busy thinking questions. You are not concentrating on the lecture. You are not concentrating on the lecture. You are so busy thinking questions to ask. See this slide. What does it say here? Shivam, are you there? Listen. See, every company which ceases to be a company covered under subsection 1 of the 135 of the Act for 3 consecutive financial years. So, if your company falls under CSR, but later in next financial year, nothing will happen. For 3 consecutive financial years, you have to continue. For 3 consecutive financial years, if you are not satisfying the criteria, only then your commitment will stop. For 3, so this, I gave an example also. You didn't listen. 23, you are there. Your turnover crossed 1,000. I gave an example now. Do you remember? Got it now? Shivam, this is the exact point. You are so busy thinking questions, you're not listening to the lecture. You're not allowing the knowledge to go into your brain. You are preventing the knowledge. See, an open brain is not an empty brain. Please understand. An open brain need not be an empty brain. But when a brain is too full, you close and you don't allow new knowledge to come in. Your own questions are preventing you from learning. So just sit back and first allow the knowledge to go in, and then the questions will disappear. Mohammed, capital expenditure should not be shown, otherwise come. What is that? I don't understand your question. You cannot show in, how can you claim depreciation? Your English is not clear, ma. The capital expenditure should not be shown in balance sheet. Otherwise, correct. Okay, you are saying otherwise they will claim. Correct. Now I understood your question. That is, if you show it in your balance sheet, you will claim depreciation. Not allowed. You cannot claim depreciation. Otherwise, what will happen? That capital expenditure through depreciation will become business expenditure. Am I correct? I think I have understood what you said. Correct. See, Mohammed and Shivam Tiwari, your questions are always I'm worried because you people are asking questions without understanding. Once the understanding is there, the question will stop. Of course, if you ask the right question, I'll be the happiest man. One question still I'm yet to answer and I'm still thinking, what happens to an OPC? That is a good question. I don't know who. Shivam only asked her. It's a good question. Shivam, who asked that question? I don't know. I'll check up. It's a good question. But I'm not having an answer. I will tell you. Okay. This is in case of any amount remaining unspent. Procedure. Any amount remaining unspent pursuant to any ongoing project. See, normally unspent amount already covered. Okay. But here you are saying unspent amount for a ongoing project. You are only postponing your pain. You are saying some bogus ongoing project and saying, I want to spend. Okay, 3 years. Unspent project. So it's keeping on going. Finally, at the end of the 3rd year, you should have spent the entire amount now. Still, you are not spent. What do? Transfer of unspent amount. It should be transferred to the company within a period of 30 days from the end of that last financial year. See, in 23, you are saying you are unspent. Agreed. What are you going to do? Now, another 3 years, sir, we are going to have a project. Right. So 23, 24, 25, 26. On 31st March 26, what did you do? Have you spent it? No. Then within a period of 30 days from the end of the financial year, you have to transfer it to a special account. Okay. To be opened by the company, like, the unpaid dividend account. Similarly, you have to transfer it to unspent CSR account, unspent corporate social responsibility account. See, every year you are supposed to spend 2%, you are not spent it, then at the end of that year itself, within 6 months, you have to transfer. You are saying it is ongoing project, then 3 years or 2 years or whatever. At the end of that period, you have to do now, you're not done. Then at the end of that period, within 30 days, you have to transfer. You got it? Now, such amount shall be spent by the company in pursuance of its obligations towards CSR policy within 3 financial years. Please, they are still giving you an option. Okay, you wanted to do ongoing, you didn't do it, whatever the money is now. We give you another 3 years, 3 financial years. Use it. Any activity, anything to do with CSR activity, please go ahead and do it. So for the 3 financial year also, you have been sleeping, literally sleeping, doing nothing. If it is not so utilized, then the company shall transfer the same to a fund specified in Schedule 7 within 30 days from the date of 3rd financial year. So your ongoing project, that means 23, you identified ongoing project, started. So 24, 25, 26. 26, you are not spent. Then transfer it to unspent CSR account. There it will be for 3 years. From there, you can spend CSR for 3 years. So 27, 28, 29. Hey, 29 also you have not spent, yeah. Then within 30 days from the date of completion of the 3rd financial year, transfer to the fund. No fund has been formed as of now. So you will it will be transferred to where until a fund is specified, the unspent shall be transferred to any fund included in Schedule 7. Suppose some other fund is there, you transfer it. As of now, no fund has been identified. So you have to keep it in the unspent account. Now, the board's report of a company under these rules in any financial year shall include an annual report on CSR. In case of a foreign company, the balance sheet filed under clause B of 381(1). See, as I told you, foreign companies have to file a balance sheet for Indian operations. In that balance sheet, you should mention CSR details in Annexure 1, and that the format is there in Annexure 1 and Annexure 2 of the rules. In that format, you have to keep. You can't simply put photographs. You have to give details, amount spent, etc. Every company having CSR obligation of 10 crore rupees or more, okay, in the 3 immediately preceding financial years, shall undertake impact assessment. Meaning, see, there was a gentleman called Mr. Ramamurthy. He was an IAS officer. He's no more. I used to know him. He was an expert in CSR. And he used to be sitting on the board of many NGOs and all. I have met him in that context now. So Ramamurthy used to say, Srikant, CSR is not about throwing money. It is about sowing money. He used to say that very beautiful quotation. I still remember him telling this. It is CSR, corporate social responsibility, is not throwing money. It's not like, many Rajas and all in those days sitting in the howdah of the elephant, they will throw coins on the road. That is not CSR. That is charity. Whereas CSR is sowing. That is, I told you now, when I give some assistance to a person for studying engineering college, my goal is not to give charity. My goal is to make that person self-sufficient, to make that person an earning member of society. That is the impact of the CSR. Are you able to understand? I'm giving simple example. So if you're planting trees, okay, that is not the activity. That is only the starting. Did the trees grow? Did you maintain it? Now, at the end of, say, 10 years, at least, is there a forest there? That is the impact of CSR. This is called impact assessment. It's very difficult. That is why they are saying only when it's 10 crores or more, you have to do impact assessment through an independent agency. You can't yourself say impact. And I'm giving only examples. For impact assessment, the CSR amount should be 10 crores or more in 3 preceding years. So for 3 continuous years, if you are spending 10 crores or more on a project, we want to know whether what is the impact. And that should be done through an independent agency. And every project having outlay of 1 crore or more, an impact should be studied. And so for all the projects completed 1 year before undertaking the impact study, a report should be given. The impact assessment report shall be placed before the board and will be annexed to the annual CSR report. Company undertaking impact assessment may book expenditure towards CSR for that financial year. So this impact assessment expenditure is CSR. It is part of CSR expense. Agreed. But that amount of impact assessment shall not exceed 5% of the total CSR. This is in addition to the administrative cost, which is 5%. Addition to that, you can spend 5% of the total CSR or 50 lakhs, whichever is less, for impact assessment. This means any expenditure which has been made towards the impact assessment will also be added to the CSR expense to the extent of 5% of CSR expense or 50 lakhs. So while calculating CSR utilization, we will include this also. But this amount cannot exceed 5% of CSR expenditure or 50 lakhs. The board of directors of a company shall mandatorily disclose the composition of the CSR committee and CSR policy projects and all that, right? If you have, as usual, if there is any default in complying with these rules, provisions, penalty is twice the amount required to be transferred to the fund. Suppose minimum, if you don't spend, you should transfer it to the fund now. If you don't do that, then 2 times the amount to be transferred will be the penalty. In addition to the amount, you have to transfer the amount and pay 2 times penalty, or 1 crore, whichever is less. For officer, 1/10 of the amount to be transferred. Okay. Or 2 lakhs, whichever is less. Okay. CG may also give general or special direction or to ensure compliance of provisions of this section. And 135 shall not apply for 5 years from the commencement of business of a specified IFSC company. We already saw what is an IFSC company. I'm not going to waste my time telling you. If you're an IFSC company, then for 5 years, first 5 years, no CSR. Even if your profit is, you are satisfying the condition, no CSR. So we come to a almost end of our session. That's why I didn't give a break, because I didn't want to give a break. And I thought I'll complete it and then close the session a little early, so that, Saturday evening fever can go and enjoy yourself. I'm now in Bangalore. Definitely, I'm going to enjoy myself. Okay, the central government may give such direction. Internal audit. Earlier, internal audit was not compulsory. Instead, in the MAO-CARO, the manufacturing and other companies auditors report order, there used to be one question, whether the company is having an internal audit mechanism commensurate with the nature and size of its business. So the statutory auditor had to say yes or no. So that was the only way internal audit became an issue. Companies had internal audit as voluntary measure. Large companies automatically had. As part of risk management, they had internal audit. But now they have made compulsory. So compulsory internal audit. That is, so these companies which are mentioned have compulsorily are required to appoint an internal auditor. What are they? As usual, listed company, unlisted public company, paid up share capital of 50 crore or more. Turnover of is 200 crore or more. Outstanding loan borrowing from banks or PFA exceeding 100 crores or more. All this during the previous financial year. During the previous financial year, paid up share capital is 50 crore or more. Turnover 200 crore or more. Outstanding loan borrowing 100 crore or more. Outstanding deposits of 25 crore or more. Right? This is for unlisted public company. Private company, turnover of 200 crore or more during previous financial year. Outstanding loans, borrowings from banks or PFI exceeding 100 crores during PFI. So these cases, these companies are compulsorily required to appoint an internal auditor. Who can be internal auditor? Of course, chartered accountants, cost accountants. Okay. Other professional who? I'm sorry, this is not fair. Who is that other professional who is competent to conduct internal audit? I don't know. Cost accountant, okay, I'll give them. Chartered accountants, definitely. Other professional. Are they trying to bring company secretaries inside? I don't know. Are they competent? I don't know. Okay, let's see. But sometimes engineers can be, but the problem with an engineer is, see, there's a lot of difference between internal audit and operational audit. See, sometimes I do consulting where I do operational. That is, I look at the operational efficiency of the company and we do HR interventions. And we do other engineering interventions to improve quality and to improve efficiency. That is operational audit. That engineers can do. Okay. Or a person like me who has got experience and I'm a master of science in management systems from BITS. So with that knowledge we can do. In my case, I bring the advantage of operational knowledge and financial knowledge. But internal audit is a pure financial function. And only qualified finance people are you and we and cost accountants. Who are these professionals? I don't know. I wish they would clarify who they are. And if they are not competent, we should object very strongly. Because this is compulsory internal audit. The internal auditor may or may not be an employee. Later on in the next session, when I start auditor, we will see. Employee cannot be a statutory auditor. Employee or a director cannot be a statutory auditor. But internal auditor may be an employee. In many cases, large companies have an internal audit department headed by a chartered accountant who is the GM internal audit, who will report to the board. Technically, he is supposed to report to the board, but practically he'll be reporting to the CFO only. Thereby, there is an independence check there. Because theoretically and puristically, the internal auditor reports to the audit committee. The internal auditor may be either an individual or a partnership firm or a body corporate. If he's an employee, it has to be an individual. Now, you can't employ a partnership firm or body corporate, only employee. So the audit committee of the company, the audit committee of the company or the board shall, in consultance with the internal auditor, formulate the scope, etc. So the audit committee, internal auditor. So yeah, that's an important role. When as an independent internal auditor, they cannot play games with me. But as an employee, they're slightly different now, because employee, you are getting salary. Somewhere what will happen, your salary is linked to your allegiance now. So how much you will do? I'm not saying that even then an internal audit, but the dilemma becomes too much. Suppose there is a collusive fraud. You are internal auditor employee, you come to know about it. How will you reveal it? Your boss maybe that man may be the boss doing it. You have to report your boss. You have to have guts to do it. Okay, very difficult. Let me assure you. Whereas if it's an internal, independent, they will report and to the audit committee. Then the audit committee will take up. Okay, so the time now is exactly going to be 8:10, I think. 8:10 or 8:11. Yeah, 8:10. It's okay because we have completed the topic. And I don't want to start a new topic today. In our next class, we will start a new topic, which is called audit and auditors. In the meantime, since we have time, I will wait for, hey, since I have time, I'll do one thing. Since I have time, I will do one thing. I will show you one more slide. Let me see if I have it. A minute. If I have it now, she was asking me now how to answer practical questions. Maybe I will do that now when I have a little bit of time. Yes. Can you see this? How to answer law questions. So, how to answer. See, my dear friend, whoever asked that question, I think it was Mr. Tunga. What is that? Tunga. Of course, the Tunga Trinetra. Tunga Trinetra. Now I'm going to give you. This is how. That's a simple one. Only one slide. 4-step formula. Friends, company law questions consist of 3 types. One is a pure theory question. You will not get in the exam. In our exam, no pure theory question. Only practical or theory question disguised as practical question. You will get a lot of names, numbers and all, but bottom line, the question would be a theory question. How you'll know it now? They will say, describe the procedure, state the procedure, like that. Then it is not a practical question. It is only a theory question, using some names and all that. Are you able to understand? Whereas a practical question is one where the question will be worded like this. Is the view correct? Is the decision of the board valid? What is the amount of CSR to be contributed? So these are all practical questions. In those cases, what you should do, you should, look at the question first. Read the question. Also, don't read the question from top to bottom. Read it from bottom. See, what is it that they want? Then when you see why I'm saying this now, without reading what is it they want, you will read now, you will jump into conclusion. Immediately you jump into conclusion. Don't do that. Read what they want. Then read the facts. Now the facts will fall into place. Then while you are writing the answer, rewrite the facts. Don't repeat the question. Represent. Meaning what? Present it in the way you want to conclude. Some of the things may be hidden, add to that. Some of the things may be imputed in the question. Make it clear so that the factual representation is clear. Then that question has some legal impact now. Otherwise, why is it coming in the law paper? So there is a section, rule, something Hannah, which is going to impact. That is going to give the answer now. State that law. Write the law. Meaning, whatever I've given in these slides is the law. Simplified. Remember that. Write it. That 1 slide ka content, write it. 2 slides ka content, write it. That is the law. Why I'm saying now, suppose 5 marks for that question, representing the facts, nothing, but it helps because once the examiner reads the way you've written the facts, student is intelligent. She or he has read the question correctly. They have understood what is the impact. Then state the law for this 50% of the marks. If you write the law correctly, 50%, then apply the law to the facts. Here you might make a mistake. Many of you do it now in a hurry. You make mistakes. No problem. But if you apply the law to the facts correctly, see, because there you say so-and-so section says like this, then therefore, as in this case, this guy has done this, this section will apply to him or will not apply to him, whatever. You apply the law to the facts and conclude. Then write a 1-line conclusion, which is the answer to the last question. See, in the last line of that question, the last line will be the question. Is the action of the board of directors correct? Is the action of the CFO correct, valid? That you write finally 1 line separately, neatly. Therefore, that the decision taken by the board of directors is not correct. Something. That's all. This is a complete answer to a practical question. Mr. Trinetra, have I satisfied you? You wanted something? I have given it to you then and there. Are you happy? If you are happy, clap your hands or at least say something. Okay. If you still have doubt, ask me, I will answer. What you should do, take a photograph of this, take practice manual or take some old question paper, read the question, do what I have told you once. Practice, practice, practice. Then check it with the suggested answer. Slowly you will start getting into the groove. You will start writing correctly. Okay, so I have answered this also. Now, registered valuer comes under no, not prescribed. Registered valuer ka role have totally alag hai. It's nothing to do with this. He cannot become internal auditor. See, registered valuer may be a chartered accountant, he can become. But as a registered valuer, no. Why? How? There's nothing to internal audit and registered valuer, no connection. No. Answer is no. Okay. Not prescribed. In accounting standards, we are advised to present the answers in a similar way. If so, I am honored, my dear friend. Thank you very much for confirming that I am right. Thank you very much. Suppose we don't know the section of the law. Don't know it. Brother, you are writing CA inter exam. Huh? What question is this? Suppose we don't know. Know it, remember it. Yeah, you are taking 3 months, 4 months study holidays. Now, what are you going to do? Yeah, study, remember, no. If you don't know, you don't write, you don't get 50% marks, you will go. You will write whatever you want to write, you will get whatever you want. The examiner wants to give. Tiwari, don't expect any sympathy from me, Tiwari, for this question. What do you say? Just because you know how to write, ask question, don't ask question. If you don't know the answer, you will not get marks. Sorry, what to do? Are you able to understand? I'm talking a little arrogantly, I know, but come on, I've never failed in the exam. Why? Because I knew the answer. I knew the law. I knew the provision. If I don't know the provision, how I'm entitled to sit in that CA exam hall? You tell me, sir. You tell me, sir. You are such an intelligent student asking so many questions. Huh? You tell me, Tiwari, if you don't know what right you have to sit in that exam hall, you should know. If I don't know, suppose we don't know the section of the section, okay. Section, okay. If you mean section number, see, if you mean section number, no problem. If you don't write section number, it's okay. But content you should know. Nah? The content you should know. That is why in my slide, I have given you simplified English. In simplified words, I have given you the content. Write it. If you remember section number, good. Baiju, I don't want to go into it. Baiju, I am not aware of the facts. I am not aware. Okay. I'm not aware. Maybe I'll study and I'll tell you on a later date. Okay. What I know is that Baiju came under the scrutiny of not only ICI, SEBI scrutiny also. So, hey, Baiju. That's what I'm saying now. I'll not go there. So, see, that fellow made investment in all sorts of entities. See, they had too much money. That is the problem. Startup fellows, that is the problem. Too much money, too little accountability and responsibility, too much hype, too much news in the Google and social media. Everybody thinking it is something great. So that is Baiju. Boss, what model, yeah? Educational, conducting coaching classes. What model? How it can be scaled up? Where he will go with it? Somewhere the money will be wasted. Somewhere the money will go to the dogs. That's what happened. So finally, he is having huge, he will have losses. He'll hide it, do all sorts of window dressing. Okay. Good. See, Tunga Trinetra is not confirming. He is asking, I am telling, after much effort, I am telling, he is not confirming that I have given. Anyway, it is okay. Shivam Tiwari, again, back to the questioning. Baiju, we will see. I'll check up and tell you. But see, all are useless. Why only Baiju? All these startups are useless. If you see a guy's name being projected too much in the social media, assure you that fellow is somewhere the fraud is going to happen, if not today, tomorrow. What is the difference between surplus and excess? See, Mohammed, that's what I'm saying, that there are two types of students. Students who understand, students who. Surplus means you are doing some business. As part of the CSR, you are selling some product, etc. When you sell, what happens? You'll have a cost, you'll have a selling price, right? Selling price minus cost is revenue, After expenditure, there will be some profit, that is called surplus. That money should be used only in that year for CSR. The same activity, you should use it. If you don't use it, then it has to be transferred. That is called surplus, where you're doing a business, business means you are using that. I gave an example also. You didn't listen about that people, who are foot and core. You take that product and you sell it. There will be some profit. Surplus means profit. That profit also should be used in that year for this activity. If it is not used, then it is taken. Whereas excess expenditure is, you are supposed to spend only 2%. But in this year, you are spending 3, 4, more than 2. That excess money that you spend can be carried forward and set off. But if you are making profit, that profit cannot be set aside and carried forward and set off for future. So if in this year you are supposed to spend 2% of average net profit, you spend 3. So only 2% for this year. Beyond 2% excess is there. That is called excess expenditure. So next year, you calculate 2% of average net profit. Whatever you get, you reduce this excess into that. Balance, if you spend it, is enough in the next year. Have you understood, Mohammed? If you still not understood, tell me you have not understood. I will explain again. Have you understood? Yeah, wonderful. I think we had a wonderful session. We were able to thoroughly understand all these topics. And let us move on. And bye. Today I will stop here. Next class, we'll start audit and auditors. Okay. Thank you. Bye.